Have you ever trusted someone so completely that you gave them access to your entire life? Sarah did, and it cost her everything. For 8 years, Emma had been Sarah's closest friend, the person she called when things went wrong, the one who held her spare apartment key and knew all her passwords. Sarah and Emma met in college and stayed inseparable ever since. They'd been roommates, vacation buddies, and each other's emergency contacts. Sarah, a freelance graphic designer, traveled frequently for work, and Emma always offered to check her mail and water her plants. Everything changed one Tuesday morning when Sarah tried to buy groceries and her card was declined. Then her backup card was declined. Confused and embarrassed, she left her cart and rushed home to check her accounts online. What Sarah found made her stomach drop. Her checking account was empty. Her savings account was empty. Her credit cards were maxed out with purchases she'd never made. $15,000 just gone. Sarah immediately called her bank's fraud department. They asked her to review the transactions. As she scrolled through the charges, her blood ran cold. The purchases were made at stores she'd never been to, but they were in her hometown, not some far-off place. The bank representative asked if anyone else had access to her cards or personal information. Sarah's mind immediately went to Emma. But no, that was impossible. Emma was her best friend. Emma wouldn't do that. The bank started an investigation and issued temporary fraud alerts. Sarah couldn't access any credit for weeks. She had exactly $200 in cash at home, and rent was due in 10 days. She called Emma, voice shaking, explaining what happened. Emma was so sympathetic, so outraged on Sarah's behalf. She even offered to lend Sarah money to get through the month. Sarah, grateful and relieved, accepted $500 from her friend. It felt like a lifeline. 2 weeks later, the bank called with their findings. They'd traced the fraud. The transactions were made using cards that had been reported lost and replaced 3 times over the past year. Each time, the replacement cards were mailed to Sarah's address. But here's what made Sarah's heart stop. The bank's investigation showed the cards had been activated from an IP address that didn't match Sarah's home internet. When they told her the address, Sarah recognized it immediately. It was Emma's apartment building. Sarah felt like she'd been punched in the gut. Emma had been intercepting her mail, activating the replacement cards, and using them for months. Emma, who had her spare key. Emma, who offered to check her mail. Emma, who she trusted with everything. The police got involved, but the detective told Sarah that proving Emma's guilt beyond reasonable doubt would be difficult. Sarah needed more concrete evidence, so she decided to get it herself. Sarah started documenting everything. She requested copies of all activation records, delivery confirmations, and security footage from her apartment building. She discovered Emma had been signing for packages addressed to Sarah for over a year. But Sarah didn't confront Emma, not yet. Instead, she played along. She continued accepting Emma's help and sympathy, letting Emma believe she'd gotten away with it. Sarah needed Emma to feel safe enough to make a mistake. Sarah set a trap. She told Emma she was going out of town for a week for a work project and asked if Emma could, as usual, check her mail. Emma agreed immediately, probably thinking about what new cards she could intercept. But Sarah wasn't going anywhere. She'd installed a hidden camera in her apartment's entryway, pointed directly at where the mail landed. She'd also filed a change of address form with the bank to send one final replacement card. 3 days later, Sarah watched from her laptop at a nearby cafe as Emma let herself into the apartment. Emma went straight for the mail, found the bank envelope, opened it, and pocketed the card. The whole thing was captured in perfect high definition. Sarah took the footage straight to the police. Combined with the bank's records and the building's security footage, they finally had enough. Emma was arrested the next morning at her office. The look on her face when the officers said Sarah's name was apparently priceless. Emma tried to deny everything at first, but the evidence was overwhelming. She eventually confessed, claiming she'd been in debt and desperate. She pleaded guilty to identity theft and fraud. The judge sentenced her to 18 months in prison and ordered full restitution. Sarah got her money back, though it took months of paperwork and stress. Her credit was eventually restored. The apartment locks were changed. But the hardest part wasn't the money or the credit score. It was accepting that her best friend had looked her in the eye and lied for over a year. Emma sent letters from prison, apologizing and begging for forgiveness. Sarah never responded. Some betrayals are too deep to come back from. Some friendships, once broken, should stay broken. Today, Sarah is more careful about who she trusts with her personal information. She's rebuilt her life, made new friends, and learned that true friendship isn't about convenience or proximity. It's about integrity. And Emma never had that. Sometimes revenge isn't about making someone suffer. It's about making sure they face the consequences of their choices. Sarah didn't ruin Emma's life. Emma did that all by herself. Have you ever had a friend betray your trust? How did you handle it?